Every year, a few brave souls challenge the laws of nature and lose. They test gravity, flirt with fire, and gamble with logic, usually right before saying, "Watch this." These are their final experiments, a tribute to the bold, the clueless, and the catastrophically confident. Welcome to the 33 dumbest ways people died. Number 1. Winter in Alaska is a test of endurance, snow stacked against the cabin walls, wind howling like a warning. Inside, a man sits hunched by a dying fire, staring at the empty woodpile. His breath fogs the air, thin, cold, desperate. Then his eyes catch a can of gunpowder on the shelf. It's fuel, he thinks. Fire needs fuel. Logic whispers no, but loneliness whispers louder. He pries off the lid, tosses a handful into the flames, and for a split second, warmth blooms. Then light, blinding, violent. The explosion rips through the cabin, turning night into day. The forest echoes like thunder. They found the chimney half a mile away, standing alone in the snow. Everything else gone with the smoke. His last thought probably was, finally, it's warm. Number 2. Los Angeles nights hum with engines and ego. A young street racer craves more than speed. He wants spectacle. Flames shooting from his car's sides, cameras rolling, followers cheering. So he reroutes his nitrous purge system, adjusting valves until the car can breathe fire. It works. Flames burst from underneath, dazzling orange against the pavement. But one thing he doesn't see: a leak. Invisible nitrous fills the car, thick as mist. He smiles for the camera, hits the ignition, and becomes the brightest light on the highway. The fireball rolls down the street like a comet, metal shrieking, glass melting. By the time it stops, there's silence. His dream of going viral came true, just not the way he planned. They said he left in a blaze of glory. They were right. Number 3. The morning was quiet, the river glassy and cold. A fisherman in Belarus felt a tug, his rod slipping from his hands. Without thinking, he lunged after it, chest-high waders strapped tight. The instant he hit the water, they filled, heavy, icy, pulling him down like an anchor tied to his waist. He kicked, clawed, tried to stand, but the current was stronger. The surface shimmered above him, close enough to see, impossible to reach. On shore, his friends laughed at first. They thought it was another prank. Then the bubbles stopped. Minutes later, the river went still, keeping what it had taken. Number 4. The skydiver wanted more than a jump. He wanted a moment, a flawless landing for the camera, smooth and stylish. So he built a special parachute harness with a homemade quick-release button. That way, he could unclip the chute mid-stride and walk off like a hero. He rehearsed the move a dozen times on the cliff, imagining the slow-motion replay that would make him famous. When he finally leapt, the wind screamed in his ears, the world spinning below like a painting. He reached for the cord. Perfect timing, perfect grip, and muscle memory betrayed him. He hit the wrong release. The parachute detached instantly, fluttering above as he plummeted beneath it. His camera captured everything. One shot, no edits, the smoothest exit in internet history. Number 5. Romania. A quiet village and one hungry thief. Under a moon that barely showed the road, a farmer named Bogdan decided to steal his neighbor's prize sheep. He crept through the fence, caught the struggling animal, and threw it over his shoulders. Too heavy to carry far, he chose the shortcut, a low stone wall behind the property. He hoisted the sheep first, then climbed after it. On the other side was darkness and silence, and a well, an old one, uncovered, deep, and forgotten. The wall crumbled under his weight. The sheep kicked. They fell together, twisting in midair before vanishing. 2 days later, villagers heard the faint bleating below. They found the sheep alive. Bogdan had successfully hidden the evidence of his crime and himself forever. Number 6. Heartbreak burns hottest at midnight. She stood beside his car, gasoline can trembling in her hand. Every breath fogged in the cold, every heartbeat shouting, "He deserves this." She poured until the paint glistened under streetlights, the smell thick enough to sting her eyes. Then she flicked a lighter, a spark, a flash, and the world flipped. The fumes ignited before she stepped back. For one blinding instant, she saw the fire rise higher than her anger ever did. Neighbors said the explosion sounded like thunder. When they found her, the pavement was blackened, and what was left of the car still burned, a twisted symbol of passion turned gasoline. They called it revenge, but the flames never cared who they punished. Number 7. New York City, 3 a.m. A fluorescent lights and tired faces. A man in a hoodie stood at the subway gate, counted his change, and frowned. $3 short. He looked around, smirked, and muttered, "They'll never notice." He jumped the turnstile like a gymnast, 1 foot over, 1 moment away from victory. Then physics intervened. His shoe caught the bar. His body flipped. His head met concrete with a hollow crack that silenced the platform. Commuters froze. The train screeched to a stop a few feet away. He'd saved his fare, but the city kept the change. Somewhere, a MetroCard machine blinked, "Swipe again." Number 8. 2 friends, 2 speeding cars, and 1 very stupid idea. They were drunk on adrenaline, filming for social media. The plan? Drive side by side and leap from one hood to another. No stunt wires, no safety nets, just ego and a camera phone. Engines roared as they counted down. 3, 2, 1. One man jumped, his foot sliding on metal slick with dew. He hit the first hood, bounced, and vanished under the second. The impact made the car swerve, tires screaming. The surviving friend leapt out, shouting his name, but the only reply was a hiss of steam from twisted metal. Turns out Hollywood has safety crews. Reality just rolls credits. Number 9. He was late for his date, the big one. His lucky socks were wet, his dryer broken, and his patience gone. So he grabbed the microwave. "Just a minute or two," he thought. To fight the smell, he soaked the socks in body spray. Then, distracted and rushing, he tossed them in along with an almost empty aerosol can sitting on the counter. He slammed the door, hit start, and smiled. 10 seconds later, the kitchen glowed orange. The can exploded, tearing the microwave open like a metal flower. Fire spread up the curtains before he could blink. When rescuers arrived, they found him unconscious and barefoot, his date still texting, "You on the way?" He wasn't. Number 10. Moscow at night. A man lost in a virtual zombie apocalypse. He wore a VR headset, headphones tight, heart racing. In the game, he dodged an attack, stepped back, and shattered the glass table behind him. He fell hard but didn't feel it. The game told him to fight, so he stabbed upward again and again, his hands jerking wildly through the shards below. In the headset, his screen flashed, "Critical damage." It was right. Neighbors later told police they heard a struggle, grunts, then silence, then the eerie sound of game music still looping. He died a champion. In the real world, his high score didn't matter. Number 11. Night in Poland. 2 thieves and a bronze statue of a war hero. Half a ton of metal, shining under the streetlight. They didn't have tools, just determination and a terrible plan. One climbed up, loosened the bolts. The other stood below, hands open, ready to catch it. He looked up, proud, confident. "Got it?" the first man asked. The statue fell before he could answer. They say it was quick. Gravity doesn't miss. Number 12. He called it a science demonstration, but science had already filed for divorce. In a small town square, a man set up a camera and a crowd. He wore his proud invention, a brand new stab-proof vest. It had stopped knives, he said, and tonight he would prove it. But knives were too small for the show he wanted, so he brought a chainsaw. His assistant hesitated, muttering that it wasn't part of the plan. The man grinned, shouting, "It's fine! It's science!" The crowd laughed, the camera rolled. and the blade touched his chest. For half a second, nothing. Then it dug through fabric, flesh, and foolishness. The vest worked on blades that poked, not blades that spun. The audience screamed. The chainsaw roared. He proved one thing that night. Stupidity cuts deeper than steel. Number 13, Spain. A heat wave turned the air into soup. A fisherman finished his shift sweating through his shirt. He stepped into the walk-in freezer just to cool off for a minute. Inside was peace, a cold so sharp it felt like relief. He closed the door, leaned against a crate, and exhaled. The hum of the motor drowned out everything. He sat, then lay down, eyes half shut. Outside, the clock ticked past midnight. His coworkers locked up and went home. The freezer kept humming. Hours later, the morning shift opened the door and froze in place themselves. The man was still there, calm, pale, and perfectly preserved. His coworkers said he looked peaceful, like he just drifted away. The coroner agreed. He took the coolest nap in Spain, and the longest. Number 14. Fame burns brightest right before it explodes. A college student with more followers than foresight decided to build the future. 6 high-powered leaf blowers, duct taped together, would make him the first man to fly on yard tools. He called it Project Jetleaf. He strapped it on, camera live, heart pounding. "Let's go viral," he said, and stepped off the roof. The roar was deafening. For 3 glorious seconds, he hovered, arms out, godlike, invincible. Then one motor sputtered. The others pulled unevenly, spinning him midair like a dying drone. He crashed in a burst of plastic and pride. His last video got millions of views. His caption read, "It works!" And technically, it did. For 3 seconds. Number 15. Silence. Power outage. The neighborhood asleep. One man refused to live without electricity. His new generator sat gleaming in the garage, a humming promise of comfort. The manual said, "Use outdoors only." He laughed. Rules were for cowards. He dragged the machine inside, cracked the kitchen door for the extension cord, and went to bed proud of his cleverness. Hours passed. The generator purred softly, filling the air with invisible poison. Carbon monoxide rolled across the floor, thick and silent, creeping into every room like fog. When the sun rose, the house looked peaceful. The machine was still running. So was the death it made. He didn't burn. He didn't struggle. He just drifted away, proud of the idea that killed him. Number 16. Texas skies. Blue, open, and quiet. Except for the buzzing. A drone hovered over a man's backyard, filming the world without permission. He glared at it, muttering curses, and scanned for a weapon. No gun, no slingshot, just an old boomerang hanging in the shed. He grabbed it, squared his shoulders, and threw it with all the righteous fury of a man defending his privacy. It sliced the air perfectly, spinning wide, missing the drone by a mile. He grinned, satisfied. Until the sound changed. A low whistle. Getting closer. He turned just in time to see his mistake flying home. The boomerang hit him in the temple like a hammer, dropping him instantly. The drone caught the whole thing on video. His aim was bad, but his timing was perfect. Number 17. Scotland. A man in a shed, proud of his homemade gin. He'd been distilling it for weeks, claiming it was smoother than store-bought. He dipped a cup, sniffed it, smiled. Then he turned on a small heater to take the chill out of the air. The alcohol vapors floating around him ignited instantly. The explosion tore the shed apart. His gin really was one of a kind, strong enough to knock anyone dead. Number 18. An apartment building in Detroit. A man hated his neighbor. The music, the noise, the dog, everything. So, one night, he decided to glue the neighbor's door shut. Industrial-strength epoxy. He covered the hinges, the locks, every edge. It worked. The next morning, his own apartment caught fire. The only exit was his front door, and the fumes from his own glue. He'd sealed his fate perfectly. Number 19. The Australian outback. Dry air, spinning dust devils twisting through the desert. A tourist wanted a photo, up close. He ran toward one, camera ready, laughing. The swirling column of sand swallowed him whole, lifting him off his feet. When it spat him out, he hit the rock so hard the camera cracked in half. His last photo was blurry, but the desert remembered him clearly. Number 20. Belgium. A man drove into an automatic car wash. The payment system froze. He was furious, so he decided to drive through anyway. Halfway in, he realized he'd left his wallet on the seat. He opened the door to grab it, just as the machinery came alive. The metal frame slammed the door against him, pinning him as the brushes and rollers dragged his body through the cycle. By the time it ended, the car was spotless. He wasn't. Number 21. Indiana. A man wanted to outshine his neighbor's Christmas display. He rented a cherry picker to hang lights on his 80-foot pine tree. It looked spectacular until the ground gave way. The lift tipped, the lights tangled, and the man fell with the decorations. When rescuers arrived, the tree still glowed in the dark, twinkling around him. He'd become part of his own display. Number 22. A prison farm escapee with a genius plan. Hide inside the manure spreader overnight. He curled up inside, holding his breath as guards searched. No one found him. At dawn, the farmer started his tractor. He didn't notice the extra cargo. By noon, the fields were fertilized, and the prisoner's plan had truly spread far and wide. Number 23. Germany. A man claimed he'd invented a perpetual motion machine. To protect his secret, he locked himself inside his workshop. No windows, thick bolts on the door. When the machine overloaded, sparks flew. It caught fire, but the door he'd built to keep thieves out also kept rescuers out. His invention didn't run forever. It burned perfectly once. Number 24. The crowd was loud. A punk concert in full chaos. On stage, a man named Spike climbed a giant speaker stack. He raised his arms like a hero about to fly. Below him, the mosh pit opened up, a sea of sweaty hands waiting. He jumped. For a heartbeat, he was airborne glory. Then the crowd stepped back. He landed hard, the sound louder than the guitars. They said he went out doing what he loved. Gravity said otherwise. Number 25. Deep in the Zimbabwe bush, a poacher checked his snare in the dark. He had set it for wild boar. What he forgot was where. His foot found it before his memory did. The wire snapped tight around his leg, flipping him into the air, twisting, cutting. When morning came, the trap had caught exactly what it was built for, a 200-pound animal. Number 26. Spain. A man needed to cool off. He crawled into a commercial freezer at work and shut the door. The hum of the compressor lulled him to sleep. Outside, the clock ticked past midnight. His coworkers locked up and left. The next morning, they found him still inside, frozen in the calmest pose imaginable. He beat the heat, permanently. Number 27. Iceland. A tourist stood on a small iceberg near the shore, posing for the perfect photo. The wave came without warning. It lifted the ice and him out to sea. People yelled. He waved back, smiling, thinking it was all part of the moment. By the time he realized he was drifting, the black sand was already a memory. The ocean took him for one long exposure. Number 28. Washington State. A husband planned a prank. He climbed into the laundry chute to surprise his wife. He slid down from the second floor, expecting to pop out in the basement. He didn't know about the sharp turn halfway. He got stuck, tight. Every breath made it worse. By the time she came home, his funny idea had turned silent. The surprise was all hers. Number 29. England. Extreme ironing. The sport no one asked for. One man wanted to press a shirt on a cliff edge. He set up the board, balanced, proud. Then a gust of wind shifted his step. The iron fell first. He followed. They say the shirt was perfectly smooth. He wasn't. Number 30, Ohio. A warehouse manager wanted to change a bulb 50 feet up. Too cheap to rent proper equipment, he stood on a rotted pallet lifted by a forklift. For a moment, it worked. Then the wood snapped. He fell through the broken boards, a blur of limbs and regret, all to save a few dollars in a light that's still off today. Number 31, Florida. A man found a possum floating in his pool, still and pale. He thought it had drowned. Moved by pity, he gave it mouth to mouth. The possum wasn't dead, just acting. It woke, panicked, and bit him deep on the lip. The infection that followed was worse than irony. He died from kindness and bad aim. Number 32, Russia. A man stared at his broken TV, old, heavy, buzzing with static. In rage, he lifted it to the window. He shouted one last insult and threw it out. As it fell, he leaned out to watch it smash. He leaned too far. Moments later, man and TV met again on the pavement, both equally shattered. Number 33, France. A chef loved liquid nitrogen, the cold, the vapor, the showmanship. A stray mint leaf floated on the surface of his vat. He reached in bare-handed to remove it. In an instant, his hand froze solid. He screamed, stumbled, knocked over the vat. The vapor spilled, filling the room, pushing out every breath of air. When they found him, the kitchen was silent, white with frost. His final recipe, 1 part genius, 2 parts hubris. If you're still alive after this video, congratulations, you've officially outsmarted 33 people. Hit subscribe before evolution reconsiders.